be learning and improving. So it's not that you just start your business and then say, okay, I'm going to now just work with people and I'm going to stop reading books and taking programs and everything else. You have to keep learning and growing. And somebody put this really well to me. It said that our job as coaches is to outlearn our clients. So we have to stay ahead of them.
Welcome to the Laws of Business podcast. Here, we will share the skills you need to make your business a success. Learn about goal setting, productivity, time management, marketing, and much more. Hear inspiring stories with today's best business leaders and join a hub of thousands of passionate entrepreneurs across the world. And now, here's your host, Jamil Jama.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the Law of Business podcast, where I interview successful entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Jamil Jama, and today I'm going to be interviewing Marc Mawhinney. Marc Mawhinney is the founder of Natural Born Coaches, where he helps people to find coaching clients. It's a real pleasure to welcome Marc Mawhinney. How's it going, Marc?
It's going good. Thanks for having me, Joel.
Marc, first of all, Marc, I really love what you're doing, and I'm so grateful that you agreed to do this interview. Thank you so much for taking your precious time out to come on the show to do this interview.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Should be fun.
Yeah, definitely be fun. And Marc, your podcast is very cool, and what you do, you help coaches to get clients. But before we get into the main interview, can you tell us about your backstory? What is your story from when you started until where you are right now currently?
Yeah, actually, my background is in real estate. So I started in real estate back when I was 21 years old, and I did that for about a decade. So throughout my 20s, I was all real estate 24/7. And to make a really long story short, I went through not one, but two business closures in real estate in the span of less than 4 years. And I was helped back to my feet by several coaches and several mentors. And that's where I got to experience the power of coaching firsthand. And then I decided, okay, I want to start another business. What's it going to be? Coaching was a no-brainer because I'm a big believer in coaching, and I'm now in my fourth year and having a lot of fun. So it was the right move for me. But
Marc, we all know basketball players need coaches, football players need coaches, boxers need coaches. But do entrepreneurs also need coaches as well? And if so, why?
Definitely. Probably need them more so than some of the others that you mentioned. I think the challenge, and you know this from running a show for entrepreneurs, is entrepreneurs, you feel like you're stuck on an island. There's not a lot of people to talk to. I always say you feel a little bit like, did you remember Tom Hanks in the movie Castaway when he was talking to the volleyball, Wilson? Not sure if you saw that one, but
no, I haven't seen that film. I'm a Hanks fan, but I haven't seen that film.
Yeah, so Tom Hanks is stranded on an island and he goes a little bit crazy and starts talking to a volleyball. So anyways, that's how you feel as entrepreneurs. You feel like you're by yourself, and there's not a lot of people who get what we're doing. You know, you can't really talk to other people that have 9-to-5 jobs because they don't understand it. You can't always talk to your family because you don't want to worry them, you know, with the ups and downs and all that other stuff. So the other challenge with entrepreneurs is they're not always able to see the forest for the trees. So it's very difficult when you're busy running a business to detect certain things and to be able to look inside yourself and reflect. And when you have a coach that's a second pair of eyes, a coach who cares for your success and is working with you, then that can be a very powerful thing. So I think every entrepreneur should have a coach. I never had a coach for many years back when I was in real estate, and things may have ended up differently if I'd had a coach. I may not have gone through that business closure, certainly not as messy as it was. So I'm a huge believer that entrepreneurs should have coaches.
So Marc, what other things do you do to help coaches get their clients?
Well, my specialty is organic efforts, so it's not paid advertising. So the coaches I'm working with, it's to help them get clients without shelling out thousands of dollars towards Facebook ads or Google ads and so on. So that's my thing. And the reason I enjoy that is a lot of coaches, especially getting started out, are operating on a very low budget, you know, a shoestring budget, and they don't have thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to throw into ads. So that's the way I built my business starting in the beginning of 2014 for coaching. Was I didn't have a big budget and stuff. I had to make up for it with effort, a lot of content creation and different things. And that's what I help people do.
And Mark, how long does someone need to have a coach for? Because if someone is operating on a tight budget, they can't really have a life coach, can they? And how long would an entrepreneur need a coach for?
Well, there's no one right answer there, Jamil. I should mention that life coaches they're there to help you in many aspects of your life, but it's not necessarily a lifetime commitment. Although I do know coaches that do lifetime commitments with clients, which is an interesting concept. Me personally, I work with my clients for 3 months as my standard package, and we can extend that. But usually, I don't want them working with me for years and years, or I'm not doing my job. I want to leave on a high note. I want to get them going, and I don't want to work with them for 5 years necessarily. So I would say that you need at least a couple months to see that transformation. It's very hard to see it in one coaching session or even in a month because there's so much to do. You usually need a little bit more time with the client.
Like 90 days. You have 10 clients in 90 days program.
I do, yeah. And that's why it's 90 days. I find that's a sweet spot. Usually we see most coaches getting the results from my programs usually by month 2. Yeah. So I wouldn't want to do it for just a few weeks, nor would I want to do it for a year. So I found that 90 days was a sweet spot.
And can you tell us about your first 5 clients? That's like a video.
Yes, that's an online program that I created last year. So that's all completely do it yourself. And that's based around, as the title suggests, getting your first 5 clients, because I came across so many coaches that weren't being served in the marketplace. There's people saying, here's how you can scale your coaching business to 7 figures or 6 figures even. And they weren't talking about, okay, how do you get those valuable first couple clients to get rolling? So your first 5 clients program is all about getting those first 5 paying clients, and then you can grow from there.
Definitely. That sounds so awesome, Mark. And Mark, you've got a real cool podcast. I really love your podcast, Natural Born Coaches. Could you tell us a bit more about your podcast, Natural Born Coaches?
Well, we share something in common because I launched my show in 2014 as well. So it was a daily show for the first 300 episodes, and now it's down to weekly frequency. So much better pace for me there. But we've released as of today 519 episodes. Yeah. And every day every episode I'm interviewing successful coaches to find out their secrets, how they're doing it, or people who can help coaches as well. So I felt when I launched the show in 2014 that there was a need in the marketplace. I think there still is a need, but I wasn't seeing a lot of shows that were dedicated just to coaches. So I said, I'm going to start the show. And you know what it's like with podcasting, Jamil. It's addictive. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I should have told you this story in the beginning. There was one guy, he was making $800 a month. He was making $1,000 a month from his business. And then he hired a coach for $800, and he was resistant to pay the coach. But then he just paid the coach the $800, and now his business he quickly went from $1,000 a month to $100,000 a month.
He's doing well.
And then after that, that's nothing. Then after that, he went from $100,000 to $1 million a month.
Nice. There you go.
Now he's on a couple of $1 million a month. It all started from the $800, which he didn't want to pay in the first place.
No, sometimes you got to bite the bullet. So I've hired coaches in the early days when I really couldn't afford a coach, and it was very difficult sometimes to do it, but I just trusted in the process. And I've hired a couple bad coaches that didn't work out. And even in those cases, though, they were valuable because they taught me what not to do when I'm working with clients. So I learned something even from the dud coaches.
Yeah, a good question, Mark, is how can someone avoid bad coaches? And also how can a coach avoid being a bad coach?
Well, you got to do your research, talk to people who've worked with that coach and follow their stuff for a while. So sometimes I have people who've been following me for 3 or 4 years. So by the time we hop on the phone or on Skype, they're already sold. They know they want to work with me because they've seen what I'm putting out there and they know that I'm serious. There's too many coaches out there, though, that are just selling, I say all sizzle, not the steak. And they're selling the promise of 7-figure businesses in a month, working 5 minutes a day, and you can lay on the beach with your laptop, refreshing your bank account. and they're very flashy. They're great marketers, but behind it, there's nothing there. And I know a ton of those coaches. They do great getting a client the first time, but they get no repeat or referral business because they just can't deliver on those big promises. And eventually they'll get weeded out of the industry because they're just not getting results. To the second part of your question, if you're a coach, how do you keep from being a bad coach? I think you always have to be learning and improving. So it's not that you just start your business and then say, okay, I'm going to now just work with people and I'm going to stop reading books and taking programs and everything else. You have to keep learning and growing. And somebody put this really well to me. It said that our job as coaches is to outlearn our clients. So we have to stay ahead of them. And that's something I take very seriously. So every day I try to learn something and make sure that I'm always improving every day. And that makes me a better coach.
And Mark, if anybody wanted to contact you to learn more about getting coaching clients, where can they contact you?
The best spot is to head over to naturalborncoaches.com. And I also have a Facebook group called The Coaching Jungle that you can connect with me there. And the link for that is thecoachingjungle.com.
Mark, Mona, thank you so much. You've got a real cool podcast, a real cool website. It's very nice. It's a very nice looking website, by the way.
Yes, well, thank you.
And very simplistic and very just nice looking, and it looks great.
Well, I'll get a shout out for Tim Melanson is the person that did my website. So I got to give Tim credit for that.
Congratulate you again, Mark, for building a successful podcast, because I know it's not easy having a podcast. Some people think doing podcasting is easy, but it's not as easy as it looks, because there's all the editing and
a lot of work. It's not. I always tell people it's not the magic bullet to start a podcast and suddenly you're going to get all this business. You really have to have a business behind it as well, but you also have to know going in that, hey, it takes work. And if you want to work the 4-hour work week, like a lot of people do, the whole Tim Ferriss thing, podcasting is probably not in the cards for you. Probably not the best thing to do.
Definitely. And everybody, I want to thank all the listeners for tuning in and listening to this interview. I'm sure you got much value. If you enjoyed this interview, please share it and comment and subscribe, please. And I'm your host, Jamil Jama, and that was Marc Mawhinney's story. Thank you all very much for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Laws of Business podcast. Find out more about us on thelawsofbusiness.com. Thank you for being a part of our journey.